everybody, happy hump day or Wednesday or whatever you want to call it, middle of the week. But it's Wednesday and that's exciting, and the weather has cooled a little bit, and I have my handy dandy ice pack keeping me cool so that I can do this without sweating profusely. So when it's Wednesday, if you're new, welcome. Thanks for checking out my channel. On Wednesdays, I'm on the website, which is katimorton.com. And if you haven't checked it out, you should do it because it's awesome. And the way to find how to ask an FAQ on the website is you go to Katie's videos, and all the way down at the bottom it says hashtag Katie FAQ suggestions. And you go in there and then you put your question in. And many of you have answered each other's, and that's really great. And I've gotten in and answered some previously to even selecting them. And also on Wednesdays, I'm on YouTube. So if you asked your questions on yesterday's video, below that video, I've gone through and I answered a lot of those as well. Pretty much as many as I could before I started sweating crazily. And I have 4 today, as well as a journal topic. So thanks for that, Singing with Celine. So let's get going, because Wednesdays tend to be a little longer. So I'll try to speak more succinctly. Okay, first question. Hey, Katie, I was wondering, can stress really cause you to vomit? Or is it just my bulimia, but without me actually helping it, if that makes any sense? Can I do anything if it's just stress related? Thank you. Thought this was a great question. I've received a lot of these talking about maybe just bending over and throwing up, or feeling really stressed out and feeling nauseous. And if you hear something, it's because there's awesome construction above us. They're putting in carpet, I assume, or hardwood. Either way, it's really, really loud. But I can't wait all day, right? So when we get really stressed out, our body can do a lot of different things. It can cause ulcers, it can cause headaches, it can make us really tired, it can make us really irritable, it can make it difficult for us to focus, all sorts of things, right? Do you hear this? So it really depends on how we manage it and where we focus our attention on. Now, those of us with eating disorders, I find, tend to focus on our stomachs, or we will feel really nauseous, or we won't feel hungry, or we'll feel really hungry, and we'll tend to binge when we get stressed out. And it tends to be all around food. So chances are that it is your stress that's making it worse, because you're not actually having to induce the vomiting. I'm working here. Because you're not actually inducing it, it probably is related to the stress. However, it is because of our eating disorder that we're having that kind of a symptom. And this is just in my experience. But I would first of all go to your physician and get checked out, because we want to make sure that there's nothing else going on. There could be a bacterial infection. There could be all sorts of different things. But we could have an ulcer. I don't know. But only a doctor can actually tell us this. So I would get checked out from them. And if you feel like it really is stress related, like your stress has really gone up, I feel like he's like right above me, then I would definitely use some relaxation techniques. I have a bunch of videos on my channel about ways to relax, breathing techniques, some yoga stuff, so you can check all those out and try to use it as much as you can, okay? Oh, okay. I will continue on. Question number 2. Hi, Katie. There is something I've been wondering about for a while. Is relapse okay? I've been in recovery from self-injury for about 2 years. Yay! And I recently slipped up a few times. Does this mean that I'm back at square one? Thanks. Now, I wanted to answer this because regardless of the fact whether or not you're new to my channel or not, I know that I've talked about slip-ups in recovery and it being a process and not perfection, but I haven't talked about it recently. And so for any of you newer folks, I wanted to address this. Recovery from anything, whether it be anxiety, depression, eating disorder, self-harm, whatever it is that we're really struggling with. Are you done? It's okay to slip up. That's part of the process. Nobody's perfect. We aren't expected to just go from doing something all the time to cope to never doing it again. But we're going to try to not, and we're going to put it off as long as we can. We're going to distract. We're going to use our tools. We're going to call our support team. We're going to do all our things. And yeah, we're human. We're going to slip up, but it's okay. Not all is lost. We pick ourselves back up. We dust ourselves off, and we start again. Now, I know that voice, that nasty negative voice in our head is like, you're such a loser. You can't even hold it together. Why didn't you blah, blah, blah? Tell it to shut the hell up, because you've worked really hard. And all the gains that you've made, all the stuff you've worked on, all the nitty gritty stuff you've talked out in therapy, that still already happened. We just have to learn from what caused us to slip up this time. Was it stress from my mom, which really pokes my buttons? Was it school stress because I have this need to be a perfect person and it's really hard? What was it? And then how can we better cope next time? So we use this as more of a learning tool so that we can see where there maybe are little gaps in our treatment plan and in our support team, and maybe we can fill those with some, more useful tools. What do you think? Okay? Question number 3. Great video and questions. Well, thank you. One question of mine that stemmed from this video is, when discussing the bias in relationships between the therapist and the client, is there a time when a client can tell a therapist too much and create an unhealthy bias in the relationship? If so, how would a therapist handle it? Would they terminate the client? How would it be prevented on the client side, especially if the therapist encourages parental involvement? Now, we would not terminate on a client. The only reason we would terminate or refer is if we'd had some kind of countertransference and it was making it really difficult for us to work together, or if the client was really stagnant and we kind of worked out together that maybe we should just try someone else because we're not really moving forward. So don't worry about that. But this question is kind of saying the relationship between the therapist and the client. Now, you can't tell us so much that you're making us biased. It's more the way, whatever you want to tell us, we take your story at face value. It is what you tell us, and we're working on it with you based on what you tell us. So I wouldn't worry about telling us too much or not. The thing I would more worry about is telling us not enough, because then we don't have all the information, and then we're actually trying to put it together. Oh my God, don't they realize that people are here? So that I wouldn't worry about it. You can't create an unhealthy bias. Getting parents involved is something that has to be done with a lot, to be truthful, a lot of structure. Oh my God, it's making my lights go out. That's not good. But anyway, a lot of structure and a lot of boundaries. And I always talk with my clients like, what would you like me to talk to your parents about? Would you like me to talk with them about anything in particular? Do you not want me to mention things? This is all up to my client. I don't just blanket tell parents about everything, because then it creates a bizarre situation and it could make it a little biased. So I would discuss with your therapist, find out what they're going to talk with your parents about, and set some boundaries, set some rules so that your relationship with your therapist is kept the way that you want it. Okay? Question number 4. Hey, Katie, I started self-harming 2 years ago, and when my parents found out, they told me that I should talk to them more. I found myself self-harming more nowadays and it's because of my parents putting pressure on me with school and sports. How should I talk to them if they're the problem most of the time? If you can't answer this, it's fine. Well, I'm answering it. The best way is to talk to it's all about how we verbalize things, right? We can't just say, you're making this worse. Why do you always put pressure on me? Because now I can't do anything and you're making me self-harm. And we just explode with a lot of information and blaming and screaming. That never really gets us where we want to get to. It doesn't get us to our destination, right? The best way to communicate with parents, I find, is to keep it short and simple. So I would say something to the effect of, hey, Mom, I know that I've been talking to you that I've struggled with self-harm and it's something I'm really working on. And you've been wanting me to talk to you more. But I really just wanted to let you know that the pressure that I get about school and sports, it tends to make those urges and those thoughts stronger. I would just say it like that. That'd be it. So you're telling them it makes it stronger. And then you'd say, if you could just notice when you're mentioning, expectations to me, that would really help, because I'm hard enough on myself, and trust me, I know that school and sports and everything is important. I'm not going to forget it, but mention it over and over just makes it really hard. And then I would just leave it at that. I would try not to blame. I do it when you're not riled up. I do it when you don't feel like you're going to self-harm. I do it in a time when you feel really calm and you have the time to sit down and talk, and there's no pressure and you're not overly anxious or feeling really wound up from the day. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of difficult, but practicing before, making notes, practicing in front of the mirror, any of those things, so that we make sure it comes out the way we want it to, and try to keep it as non-blaming as possible. Taking responsibility for what you're working on, as well as the things that they could help you with. And then I would just say that would really help me out. And I think they'll want to help you out, right? They want you to get better. So that's what I would do, okay? Now the journal topic, thanks Singing with Celine, it says, I'm just going to read it because I think it's amazing. I have a journal topic for you. This morning, the iTunes Fest started in London. Woo woo! My favorite band, The Script, opened the concert. Their new song, Superheroes, is really incredible. And she quotes it. She's stronger than you know. A heart of steel starts to grow. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been struggling to make things right. That's how a superhero learns to fly, when you've been fighting for it all your life. You've been working every day and night. That's how a superhero learns to fly. Every day, every hour, turn that pain into power. The song reminds me that I'm a fighter. Even though my disabilities make me look weak, one of the best things my therapist ever said to me after hearing me sing and reading my poetry was, your voice is your superpower. I love that thought. Your voice is your superpower. It's kind of cool, right? I love the idea that God has helped me turn my pain into power via ink and music. Write about, and then this is the journal topic, write about your superpower. What's your superpower? And then let me know. Maybe add a fun photo to it. It's your superpower. It doesn't have to be a talent. Maybe you're just wonderfully understanding, or you're a great friend. You're the super friend. If you can't think of one, write about what you've overcome and how you've learned to fly despite hardships. Express yourself however you choose, writing, art, dancing, etc. I think that's amazing. So let's all do that and share your photos and your superhero powers. It's amazing. I really love it. So thank you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, and I'll be on Twitter. So ask your questions there using the hashtag KatieFAQ. Bye.